What up? Marsh Pod. Recording this on a Monday morning. We just got done, well, we didn't just, but Unsigned Hype Tournament was this weekend. Extremely entertaining. I don't think there's any question about that. Von Mo made an absolute statement. I thought Kyrie Petty looked really good. Elias Platt looked like a Chris Paul wannabe type of player. Look at that. It was a good tournament. Some signings have already come in, but that's actually not what we're here to talk about. We're actually introducing a new segment, and this will be something that we probably revisit maybe once, maybe twice during the season, per month. That is, and we're calling it the SimWorld stock market. Okay, and here's how it's going to work. We have looked at the top 100 rankings for 24/7 Sports, and assigned based off players' current rankings what their stock price is. Okay? For players ranked numbers 1 through 5, again, we're only using the 24/7 ranking, so as that updates, our market will update. But for players ranked 1 through 5, so that's Dylan Harper, Cooper Flagg, Japheth Towns, Trey Hyman, Arthur Lattimore, they're $100. Okay? For one stock of that player, costs $100. For players 6 through 10, it's $90. 11 through 15, it's $80. 16 through 20 is $70. 21 through 30 is $50. 31 through 40 is $40. 41 through 50 is $30. And then 51 through 100 is $10. Going every 10 minutes or 10 players, which is going to be too much. So that's it. Starts at $100 for the top 5 players. If they're top 5 right now, you're looking at Flagg, Harper, Towns, Hyman, Lattimore. Their stock can't get any higher than it is right now. So we took some positions on these in a way in which you would similarly do so, and we might change this, but in a way in which you would do so for like a Coke, right? Or an Amazon, or a Pepsi, a Ford, something that's going to be there. You know, they might fall off. They might not make you more money, but at the very least, we know our positions are only going to go down by maybe $10 a position. And we're going to make that up in other spots. So we feel confident that these guys are going to be there, and so on and so forth. So, looking at the top 5. Look, this might bail. This might be completely uninteresting, and this might not work, but we're going to find out. We'll see. So anyway, all right, so the top 5, Harper, Flagg, Towns, Hyman, Lattimore. I'm taking 30 shares each of Harper, Flagg, and Lattimore, so $3,000 on the 3 of them, $3,000 each. And I'm taking 40 shares of Trey Hyman. Why? Because I don't think Trey Hyman's stock is going to fall very far. I think the other 3 have really great stock. I could see them dropping down. I don't see them falling out of the top 10. I don't see Trey Hyman falling out of the top 5. I just don't. And then Japheth Towns, I'm taking 10 shares. I do not feel confident in that he's going to be a top 5 guy. I'm not saying he can't be top 10, but I think there's a lot of names behind him that are going to be potentially bigger pieces. So I'm only taking 10 shares of Japheth Towns. So that's 30 on Harper, Flagg, and Lattimore, 40 on Trey Hyman, and 10 on Japheth Towns. Moving to our next, 6 through 10, this is $90 a share. Levin Cutler, Nas Hall, Benari James, Nick Hugo, and Kai Newby. I'm only taking 5 shares of of Kai Newby. Why? Because I don't at 10. It seems like a stretch for me. You know, he's playing on a team that I don't know if he's going to get a chance to handle the ball a ton moving forward. You've got a lot of new names coming onto that roster. New coaching staff, well, a new coach now, an old coach back in place. Yeah, he had a good playoffs last season. He had a good race to 1. I'm not sold on his upside. Meanwhile, I'm very high on Hugo and Cutler. I think both of those could make a leap up. I also don't think they're going to fall very far, so you're going to see kind of these stock ownerships kind of rise the lower we go down in the rankings for guys that we think can leap up. I don't think that if they fall down that they're going to fall down very far. Nas Hall, I'm not bullish on him. But I think he's got the capability to be really good, obviously. It's going to be in a really good system for him. We saw what he could do last season. I think there's a huge chance for him. And then Levin Cutler's getting 20 for me because I think he's one of the better bigs in the league. And I don't see, like you see with other guys like a Big Vic, where there's another big name in the paint that could take away from his defensive opportunities or offensive. I think he's bound to have a big season. and that's why we're putting him there. All right, moving 11 through 15, Cole Webb, Lucas Banks, Justin Bell, Ninny Gibson, and De'Aaron Cruz. Look, I'm only taking 5 shares of Ninny Gibson and 10 shares of De'Aaron Cruz. I don't think that they have a ceiling that's higher than what it is right now. Cruz was extremely inconsistent last season, was not an efficient shooter, and the same was for Ninny Gibson. I don't think that either of them is going to leap up into a top 10 positioning. I do think Justin Bell could. I do think Justin Bell could be a top 10 player in this league. He's been phenomenal throughout last season. He's a great playmaker. He's very Paul George-esque. To think that he's going to sit anything lower than 15, in my opinion, and I'm obviously not the one doing 24/7, but I don't think that he's going any lower than top 15 where he's at right now, and I think there's a very real chance that he has some stretches where, look, we're going to start selling some of these stocks right as they go up. We're not just holding and seeing where it goes. I think there's a very real chance he has a good stretch. He gets into that top 10, and then we can start making some sales on it. Let's move 16 to 20. And this is, I think, the best group in terms of upside. I think all 5 of these guys could move up into top 10. Probably not top 5, but maybe, depending on a good week. So we're taking 55 shares of D'Angelo Jordan. That's $3,800. I love D'Angelo Jordan. I think his upside is massive. He's a great shooter at 6'9", moves really well with and without the basketball. He seems very... People want to say he's not slept on. He's slept on if he's sitting at 16, man. Okay? Like, yeah, you might know his name, but that doesn't mean that he's getting all the respect and the name drops that he deserves to get. He is a phenomenal basketball player. And then Jay Laster. Look, he's going to get a lot more opportunity, I think, with the OGs. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for him to be on the ball. I think he's going to pair well with Flag. That's a really great roster now in Boston, and Coach Dotch just continues to put together really strong recruiting classes. Jay Laster's part of that. Kevon Jackson, Johan Noah Jovic, 25 each. I'm not terribly upset about them. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing, right? I don't think they can fall much further than they're at now. But when you look at them, where do you take a guy out of the top 15, out of the top 10, and replace them, right? I think if I'm looking at the top 15, I can see that with guys like D'Angelo Jordan and Jay Laster. I don't know that I can see that with Jackson and Noah Jovic. Why am I doing 25 on each of them? It's not a bad deal, $70 a pop. It's a tough break if they fall down below, but I don't think they're necessarily going to. And then Xavier Pope sits at 30 shares for me at the 15th rank. Same thing. I think he's got the capability now. He's going to be... suddenly the floor is going to be much more open to him, right? It's not going to be a log jam like it was for Bay Area, and so I like that for him. All right, now we're getting into our first of 3 10-player groups. So some of these positions I'm taking just as kind of like you catch it, but I'm not necessarily guaranteed to see much on it. It's just kind of a CYA. Roy Sanderson I'm taking 30 shares for. He's ranked 21. The same thing. He's going ATLians. He's going to have a much more open floor for him. He's going to have a lot more opportunity to just take over. And I think that's going to result in some big numbers, some wins potentially. And I think we could look at a very similar run to what DeMario Duval did a season ago in ATL. I'm going to go 20 shares for Alex Rodriguez. I like what the North is doing. They're rebuilding a lot. I got a pretty high position on Akeem Young, who we'll get to in a second. But I think there's some being slept on for Canada. Carter Fields I'm only taking 10 shares of. Why? There's a lot of mouths to feed in Queen City. I'm not convinced that there's going to be a ton there. Sean Hyman I'm doing 4. Gabe Pope I'm taking 25. I'm taking 25 shares of Gabe Pope because I think there's an opportunity for him to jump up, make a bit of an impact at the next level, where they really need a star to come in. They need somebody to facilitate and run that offense. I think Gabe Pope's got the chance for it. We're not going to explain every single one, but Big Vic and Trey Trust, I'm taking 15 shares of each. 35 of KPJ, and I'm doubling down, 40 shares of Reza Red. Dylan Harper's in there. They're going to actually have a coach that can run the thing. I really like what Indy looks like. It's a totally remade roster. Should be without any drama. Reza Red entered with so much hype. I think this is the year we get some of it. He's only 16, man. He's in his second season. So I'm taking 40 shares of Reza Red. Moving on to the $40 range. So this is our 31 through 40 ranked players. Most everyone I'm kind of going low on. Norman Nations, Tyshawn Eason, Trey Willis, and Keontae Smythe. Each of them are getting 10, as is Vincent Magic. I'm taking 200 shares of Corey Yams because he's somehow ranked here, man. $8,000 committed to Corey. He is not the 38th ranked player, 30 whatever he is. Come on. Like, this dude is phenomenal. He got pigeonholed into a role as a secondary player for Showtime that he should never have been sitting in. Okay? He should have been much more active in that group, and I think he's going to go to Houston, and Coach Bilardi is going to bring that. Bilardi has developed big men better than anyone else in this league. And Corey Yams is going to be the best starting product that he's going to have since over these last two years. To think Corey Yams isn't going to find his way into the top 20, top 15, top 10, I think is obscene. This is a huge value. This is getting a company right after they completely go under, they file for bankruptcy, the CEO gets fired and their stock market plunges. I don't know why Corey's stock price plummeted down to here, but we're buying up as many shares as we possibly can. And then I'm going to take 75 shares of Renzo Bryant. Same thing. He's going to a better organization. Same coach, better talent around it. I think there's going to be a really great season here for Queen City Kings, and I think Renzo Bryant's going to be part of that. And then I'll take 60 shares of Jermaine Owens. Philadelphia's got some good pieces, and there's every indication that they're trying to feature Jermaine a lot more this season. From everything I've been told, his offseason work has been quite impressive. So I'm not going to back off of a position right now, and I'm going to double in and try to get some big return on Jermaine Owens now and into the future. Next crop of talent, it's all the $30 range. There's really no one of note for that. So this is our 41 through 50 ranked players in 24/7. The highest position I'm taking is 40 on Keith and Carter. I like the upside of that, and then my downside isn't terribly large. It's if he drops out of the top 50, I could see him moving up. I could see him overtaking some like Trey Willis, Tyshawn Eason. We got $100,000 to play with, right? So we got some decent money that we can mess around. We might pull that money down. We might pull some money out of the stock market here. Because we don't need a position on every single guy, because obviously we're going to take some losses here if you invest in every single player on the market. And then I'm taking 50 on Akeem Young. That's the other notable one in this range. Same thing. He's going with an organization now with a little bit more consistency. I expect him to have a much more predominant role in this organization moving forward. So I like the upside that Akeem Young brings. And then into our 10s. All right, this is 50 on, including unranked players. Somehow Tyree Wells is ranked 99 by 24/7, so we're taking 435 shares of him. $10 a pop, man. I am taking every single share I can of Tyree Wells. The same goes for Kai Killens. I'm taking 400 shares of Kai Killens. That's $4,000 of my 100K. It's a no-brainer. I think both of those guys are going to be extremely dominant at the next level. Those are by no question, those are the top two largest shares I'm going to own now, with Corey Yams at 200 coming in next. And then the other notable one, DJ Davis and Richard Hennessy, I'm giving 200 shares. I like what their upside is. I think DJ Davis is going to have a great season for Best Coast. I think Richard Hennessy is going to have a great season for Latin America. And then I'm going to add in 150 on Jamie Ramos to kind of round out that Best Coast Ballers all-in commitment. Other notables or other ones, just we got to put it out there, put it on the record, so when we start claiming our winnings here, people, or our share gains, people aren't questioning it. We're doing 100 on Sung Jung-gu. We're doing 75 on Monte Parson. 100 on Von Mo, who was awesome in the unsigned hype tournament. And then 150 on Suno Chapa, J-Mo, Carson Cutbirth, and Mar Don. And then 100 each on Cam Jones, Mark Chisholm, Enzo Wolf, Kyrie Petty, who also was awesome over the weekend. And then 100 on Orlin Mack the third. I think Orlin could jump in the top 5 or top 50. He's at like 56 right now, so that could be an easy return on our investment. Sell those shares and then kind of reinvest elsewhere. I don't know that his ceiling is much higher than 40, but he's so close to that range that I think we could get some easy wins. So, all right, that's a SimWorld stock. I don't know if this is going to be of any interest to anybody. It was fun putting it together to figure out the guys you do and you don't like. And yeah, we'll check back in a couple weeks when we get some updated rankings, see how our positions are doing. I will talk to you Friday.